Hey everyone, it's your favorite black single mom here, the millennial introvert, and today I wanted to comment on this topic that I saw on Chris Logic's channel. You can go ahead and head over to her channel if you want to watch the whole video, and I'll try to remember to put the link in the description box because I'm not going to play the whole video. But I just wanted to comment on it because this is really what my channel is about. So the name of her video that I'm offering my commentary on and discussing today is Black Women Are Purposely Humiliating Themselves for This Reason, and Guess Who's Embarrassed? So my entire channel was created because I felt like Black single mothers are highly misrepresented. I feel like the stereotype is unwarranted of how people perceive us, and it's very negative, and it's not true. It's like in my case and a lot of other Black single mothers that I know. Like we know in our community, in the fake community that we're supposedly having, the Black community, there is majority, I honestly feel like majority households are led by a Black single mother. So to sit there and denigrate Black single moms does not benefit the Black race, like the African American race, the Black community, whatever the heck you want to call us, because I don't really see us as a community. But it doesn't benefit our group or a segment or a subgroup here in America. Like we're already at the bottom as African Americans, and Black males stay embarrassing the Black race. Like they are weak and they're cowards, overwhelmingly, and they're constantly embarrassing us. It's every blue moon I see a Black man that's not an embarrassment, but even then you have to tread lightly because you don't know if he's going to do something else that's going to be embarrassing. Like they're just not reliably able to be a stand-up man in society. And so with Black women, I feel like we're really the only hope as far as like making our race look good, and for social status, raising our social currency and how we behave, how the values that we have, the things that we've achieved, like having, going to college, in a great, like en masse, and even how we raise our children. And people don't seem to understand how this can affect the collective, like the Black collective, Black Americans, Black, Africans, African Americans, everyone that looks Black, but mainly African Americans. People just don't see how that's going to make us all look bad. We already know Black males aren't very smart, and so they seem to not either care, or I think they're just so subjugated. They're just addicted to, because males in general have an ego problem. It's like so bad. It's basically like they're very much alike the white race, I feel, with Black males. Like the egotistical narcissism, it's like it's so bad they will literally implode from within and destroy themselves from within because they don't know how to get out of their own way because of their hatred, their ignorance, and they just continue to, every time they open their mouth, they continue to put the Black race here in America further down into the depths of hell. And so I feel like the only hope that the Black race has is to get out of the bottom caste, like this bottom position that we're in this country specifically, is to act like we have some damn sense and have some values and morals and work hard and have respect for ourselves and pride and so on and so forth. And so if the majority of us are raised by a single mother, I wish people would stop pretending like they weren't. Majority of us are raised by single mothers, or our parents were co-parenting, like dad was getting us on the weekends or something. He may have been around, but he wasn't married to our mom or living in the same house as our mothers, So if most of us are raised by single moms and then everyone's putting down Black single mothers, again, it's like, what does that say about you? Like, what does that mean that was created? So you're walking around, if you're crapping on other women because you think you're better, because you're not a single mother, or you're not a mom at all, you're childless. First and foremost, like being childless, I don't think will ever be a flex. Like it will never be. It's not like it in the Black community, because we value like these superficial things. We don't really ever go deep into how we're looking at the things that we do and how we make moves. And that's why we are in the position that we're in, because we're short-sighted and shallow. And so everyone's trying to do this individualism thing that doesn't work. we are struggling more than any other group in this country because Black people are the only ones who are really good at being individualist. It's like everyone else may promote it, but when you get behind the scenes, or you look, like if you really look closely at how they move, whether they're Asian, Indian, white, Hispanic, like everyone else is a lot more united. I feel like Black people say it like we are, but we really aren't. Because one thing white people are going to do, like when they get up to the top, they're going to bring up all the other white people with them. Black people would not do that. It would be straight. That's why we have the terminology crabs in a barrel, that phrase, because that's, if it's got a phrase for it, that means that's how much is happening. You are like literally trying to climb above the other Black people. And that's the same ideology that goes behind the way people, like other Black women, talk about, and even Black males talk about Black single mothers. Because Black males are definitely trying to crab their way out of the crabs in the barrels analogy. They know they're at the bottom. They know they're the most conquered males. And so they're like trying to get into this place where they're like, well, at least I'm not as bad as Black women. So they're literally like the only males who compare themselves to their women, which is disgusting and weird. But it just shows how weak they are and how conquered they are. As Cynthia G has said time and time, as Cynthia G has said time and time again. And so they are like already trying to climb out of that barrel. They're already acting as a crab and trying to climb out of that barrel. And then you have Black women who are also doing that, because they're also like right behind the Black males, whether they're being mammies, pick-me's, or just trying to have some self-esteem, or, maybe they have low self-esteem. So they're also trying to climb out, and they're like, oh, well, at least I may be a Black woman and the Black man may be better than me, hypothetically, but maybe I'm better than other. And it's like everyone's always trying to be better than someone else. And that's what I mean by shallow, short-sighted, ignorant. It's just like, who cares if you're better than the Black person next to you? Like, at the end of the day, we're all at the fucking bottom. We're all at the bottom. Like, while we're competing against each other, other races, not only are they working better together as a unified, as one unit. Not only do they move better, they support each other, they pull each other up. When they get higher, they make sure they hire other people who look like them, and they, would do things to purposely push down the other groups. It's like, not only do they do that, but they just don't, like, they just stick together better than we do. Like, they're not putting each other down on this high level. If anything, they're like always pushing each other up, like, oh yeah, we're better because we're white. Like, for instance, I was sitting there watching this video by Chris Logic, and I'm thinking, I wonder if white people, and I already know the answer to this, I was like, I wonder if white people refer to their single mothers as baby mamas, or look at the single mothers in their community in the same light. And I know they don't. They just don't. Like, they never do. They just don't. Like, they help their single mothers. And it's like, yes, the dad ran off. He was no good, or whatever he was. And we need to now help rally around and help this single mom and make sure she's good and the babies have stuff. And I never hear them talk down on a woman because the father left. I mean, I could watch true crime shows. I've watched so many different true crime shows where the woman was married multiple times, a white woman married multiple times, has kids by different guys. And I've never once heard the narrator say, yeah, she was a whole baby mama, or any of that. Like, it's like they just gloss over it, and they're just talking like this is what happened. Like, it's not something to write home about. Like, oh my gosh, just denigrate her. Like, because I feel like even if people are trying to get Black women to have more respect and not just be a baby mama, there's always a better way to go about it than shaming her. Because at the end of the day, a lot of it has to do with the males and what they're doing. And then you can look at the women and say, okay, this is what you all should not be doing. But trying to put yourself in a different group, we don't have it like that. We don't have enough people in our population to be dividing ourselves even more. We're already divided from the males in our community. Like, Black women are already divided from the Black males, period. They don't work with us, and we don't work with them. That's why we have the lowest rate of marriages. We do not work well with our Black male counterparts. So that's already one thing. That's already one divisive group right there, division that we have. And then we don't get along with within the woman group, the woman sector of the black community, it's like, oh, you're a single mom, you're a wife, you're this, you're that, you're a hoe, I'm a college girl. Like, it's just constant. And at the end of the day, when people look at you, they're going to see whatever stereotype is out there. They're not really going to be concerned with whatever you think you are, which is you think you're better than someone else. Like, they don't care. We're still in a competition with all these other groups. So sitting here trying to make someone look bad because a man ran off and because of something she really had no control over, or, so what if she made it, like, let's just say she made a bad choice. But the reality is there's so much nuance to it. Because it's like a lot of women are doing it because they don't want to have an abortion. They don't feel right about it, or because of their religion. Like, everyone knows we grew up in the church, a lot of us. And so there could be so many different reasons why she felt like she maybe was doing the right thing by having the baby, And so to me, once a child is here, it's no point in making the woman feel bad. Like, why are you making her feel bad? The baby is here now. Like, do you want the mother to suffer from bad mental health issues and then struggle to be a good mom? Like, because that's really like what's happening a lot of times in the black community. Everyone's talking about, and I can't stand when people are rude to black single mothers and they say rude shit to us, and then they'll say, oh, well, it's the village, it takes a bit. No. The village is completely absent until it's time to, ridicule or chastise or judge or shame or critique. Like, that's all you're doing is running your mouth. And when you run your mouth, it's negative. Like, I don't see you putting money on anybody's Cash App so they can go grocery shopping and buying diapers, etc. I don't see you tutoring anyone's kids so they can excel in school. I don't see you, watching anyone's kids so they can get a break sometimes. Like, that's the village. That's the village. Not you running your mouth online, being negative to a black single mother who doesn't need to hear your 3 cents, especially in that tone. Like, if you have some real advice, you can try to give her real advice. But to say it in this negative tone, all that's going to do is mentally harm that black single mother. And then she's going to turn around and not feel good about herself. And now she's not a good mother to the baby or babies that she has. How does that benefit you? Like, because the shit rolls downhill. So, like, how would that benefit the black community? And then when things are bad, when they get worse, now people are like, oh, well, you could blame the parents. No, we're blaming everyone. It's 6 degrees of separation up in here, bitch. Like, everybody is connected. So it's not you just blame the parents or you blame this person. No, I'm blaming you because your negative attitude and your lack of support for what is going on here. Because, like, honestly, the most support a lot of black single mothers ask for is just for you to shut up. Shut up about us. Stop putting our name in your mouth. Like, we don't even ask, like, for you to watch your kids, pay for anything. You're not doing anything for the child. And it's just like, I don't know if people feel like, oh, it looks bad that we have all these single moms or whatever. You have single mothers in every community. You'll always, and nobody knows they're really a single mother, but like everybody can see the mothers walking with their kids by themselves, so they could be single moms too. I see Hispanic women walking with a bunch of kids all the time. I see white women doing it. I see Asian women. I see a lot of people that have like a child or kids, and they're by themselves, and nobody's sitting there like, oh my God, da, 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 da. It just gets old. It gets old. It's like, if anything, people are like, oh, the baby's so cute. They want to help you with the baby. Like, oh, do you need me to hold the door? It's just like, this is what we need to have happening to continue the human race. This is what we need to have happening to help our economy. And then some people are doing it because they just love humans. They wanted to have a family. There's nothing negative about that. Like, even if you didn't demand to stick around, that's on him. Like, you wanted to be there for you want your family, this family unit. And it's not her fault that we don't have reparations, that we don't have the job opportunities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, my case in point is that white males made an entire welfare system to undergird single white mothers. That's how you show that they support their own. Black people could never. We could never. We can't even shut up enough to not be negative towards black single mothers, let alone actually investing in us in any way, shape, or form, in our children. Like, seriously? I was at a board meeting like last year. It was like several months ago. And this white woman came and she was speaking at the board meeting. And this is for our school board meeting. And like our district. And she said she doesn't have any kids in the district. She doesn't have any kids in the school. But she felt passionate enough about her community that she showed up at the meeting just to give like insight onto how things could be improved. And I found that to be very inspiring and amazing, because I'm like, that's really what it takes, is like, that's the village right there. Like, to take time out of your day to show up at a school in person, to speak on issues, to try to improve the schools in your area, in your community. That's the village. Because there may be parents who can't take off from work, because especially in this area, people work a lot. It's a lot of traffic, so people can't get to places on like by a certain time after work. A lot of times it's, it's just too much traffic. You can't get there. So it's like she kind of like stood in for a parent that couldn't be there and was their voice. And that's what community is about. Because if you don't do things like that, you are going to have children carjacking and being truant in school, like missing school, and like all that stuff affects everyone. And people can say all they want to, like, oh, you're giving birth to these little demons, or you're doing this, you're doing that. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter what you're saying. They're still here, and they're going to be demonic because the village doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And what kids do see are a bunch of grown-ass people who don't seem to like them. And they don't have to like you either. And especially with them being under 8, like young, they're not going to be fake about it. Like, children are nowhere near fake. Like, if you showing you don't like them, they're not going to like you. And then you're going to wonder, like, why am I getting mugged or carjacked, or, why are all these crimes happening to me, or why are children so disrespectful? Why shouldn't they be? Because you'd be the same people that say that would be the same people talking about your respect is earned. Excuse me? Like, it's like, yeah, respect is earned. So have you earned that child's respect to respect you? Are you acting like an elder right now? Because just because you don't have kids doesn't mean you get to act like a 4-year-old for the rest of your life. It's not going to be cute. You're like 50-some years old. Grow up. That kid, that child, the next generation that comes up behind you is still going to look at you like an elder. It doesn't matter if you have children or not. And if you don't act accordingly, then they will lump everyone together and think like, okay, this generation of people are just immature. They refuse to grow up. So why should I respect them? That's how I look at the boomers. I'm sorry to say, but I do. I think that's one of the most selfish generations. They just do whatever they want to do. I don't feel like they really have led by example. I don't feel like they have reached back to get the generations behind them. I feel like it's just a world of me, and pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of situation. And it's funny because the boomer generation probably got the most help out of any black generation group in America. They had the best economy. They got the government jobs. They got the pensions. They got the cheap houses that they could buy. Everything was they had affirmative action. Like, everything was in their favor. But those things happened because of what their ancestors did before them. But then they turn around, now that things are good and comfortable, they sit on their ass, and then they turn around and look at the younger generations behind them, and they say instead, oh, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like, they feel like they did all this stuff that they didn't do. It's like, you didn't work for the things you're enjoying, for the opportunities that you're having. You did not work for that because you were a child. Somebody else worked for that for you to have a better life. So now that you're older, you should be continuing that effort for the next generations, but they don't do that. They didn't do it, and they're not doing it. But that's all I wanted to say. I just feel like people need to be more aware of things they're talking about. I think it's sad because I just saw something on this video, I think, where they were saying like this guy was basically admitting that putting down black women is lucrative. That's so sad. It's really sad. And then to see other black women doing it, like, one, signing up to do these awful skits And then two, just being a part, like just a part of like whatever they're doing. It's just bad. Or like helping, like also helping to put down black women for choices. Like, oh, you're a black single mother. Da, da, da. We don't see guys talking about black single dad. Like, why aren't the black guys talking about those deadbeats? We don't see it. They should be holding the shame. Like, what? Why is a black single mom holding shame? I didn't leave the relationship. He did. I didn't cheat. He did. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And people are like, oh, because you had the baby. It's like, yeah, I have some responsibility, but it shouldn't be at the level where I'm being shamed and he's just getting off scot-free. But because of black male worship and living in a patriarchal society, that's exactly what happens every time. I don't see anybody on a podcast saying, I don't want to date a black single dad. I don't see anyone talking shit about how black single dad has hit the wall, or he's worthless, or he's useless, or just pump and dump him. Like otherwise, what's the point of him? He's pointless. I just don't see them talking about him like that. I don't see anyone on either side, male or female. So that's all I just say. You're not better than your girlfriend next to you. We do need to do a better job of seeing each other as the same, more than we are different. That will benefit black people more than trying to like separate and other yourself. Like, oh, well, I'm not them. I'm this person. It's like, no, you're still just this black person. So thanks for watching, everyone. And make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.